Hey, I'm Chad. Welcome to my channel. For the last year, I'd say, I've spent many an hour trawling through the internet looking for a new monitor. See, I really did like my previous monitor, the HP NV27S, but seeing as I've got more and more into photography and color grading for video, and because I bought the 16-inch MacBook Pro M1 Pro that comes with the mini LED Retina display, and I've been able to see all of that extra detail that I've previously been missing, I wanted something that was able to display more colors and display them more accurately. Another curveball in the equation is that I upgraded to the Sony PlayStation 5 and it lives on my desk. So I needed to please my need both for a color accurate display and one that could perform well when it comes to some casual gaming. But in all this frenzy, I made a massive mistake. I bought a gaming monitor in the hope that it would work for productivity, photography, and videography. And it didn't. So if you're looking to buy the ASUS ROG PG32UQ, will it be a mistake? Let's get into it. Let me start off by giving you my use case for a bit more context. I work as a chartered accountant from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. In that time, I work on a Windows PC and work on more spreadsheets than I know what to do with. Then after work, my passions are in the realm of media. So I spend a lot of time editing photos, editing and color grading the videos that you see on this channel. And this time is spent on a Mac. Once every 2 or 3 weeks, I'll link up with friends and play Call of Duty Vanguard on my PS5. Okay, now that the scene is set, let's cover the ASUS PG32UQ specifically. It is a 4K 32-inch 144Hz gaming monitor with a 1 millisecond response time that claims to display 98% of the DCI P3 color spectrum. It has display HDR 600. Most importantly though, it has HDMI 2.1 support, which allows for 4K 120Hz gaming on next-gen consoles. The panel it comes with is 8-bit plus FRC and uses quantum dot technology. Now, what are some of the observations I've had using this monitor for 2 months as my only monitor? Whenever it comes to deciding on size and resolution, even when talking about TVs, you always need to consider the distance you'll be viewing the display from. This is because the pixel density will determine how sharp the image is to your eye. Let's consider Apple's coined term, the Retina display. The Retina display on an iPhone has a different pixel density to the Retina display on a MacBook Pro or the Retina display on an Apple Studio monitor. This is because the typical distance between you and each of these screens are different. I switched from a 4K 27-inch monitor to the ASUS PG32UQ, which is a 4K 32-inch monitor, and the decrease in pixel density was very noticeable to me. Now, you'll hear people in reviews saying that 4K at 32 inches still gives a decent level of sharpness or clarity, but having used this resolution and size combination myself for productivity, I disagree. As this is a gaming monitor, it is possible that you would use it exclusively with a console. And in that case, you would probably be leaning back on your chair a little bit while you play your game. That is quite different to if you are sitting upright in a chair whilst typing and using your keyboard for normal productivity purposes. In the case of using it with a console and leaning back a little bit in your chair, I'd say the pixel density is probably okay. Whereas for use as a productivity monitor, 4K 27 inches is still my preference, and I would not recommend going for a 32-inch 4K panel. Although the PG32UQ claims 98% of the DCI P3 color spectrum, the color modes that it comes with are very limited. The only mode that allows access to this claimed coverage is the racing mode, which limits other features. Out of the box, the racing mode calibration is terrible. If you're looking for color accuracy but don't have a color calibrator and aren't planning on getting one, straight away I would say not to go for this monitor. Because out of the box in racing mode, the panel was way too punchy on greens and reds. If you do calibrate the panel, it is possible, but bear in mind that the calibration is not stored on the monitor itself, but rather on an ICC profile on your PC or Mac. So as soon as you switch to a new input, say the PS5, that calibration would not be active. The monitor does have an sRGB mode, which seems okay, but it feels a bit overkill to buy a monitor that can display 98% of DCI-P3 and then keep it locked up in sRGB mode, which, if you don't know, displays a much more limited color palette. Okay, when I bought this monitor, I wasn't expecting very much in this category. I had vowed to myself to look past the build quality and design because I was just going to mount it on a VESA arm anyway, and my desk is right up against the wall. But it was worse than I feared. The design is in line with the purpose of this monitor. It is a gaming monitor after all, but I feel it is very pronounced and ugly in my opinion. The worst part though is the build quality. It is very plasticky and not a premium build at all. Even worse is the VESA mount. After removing the screws to fit it back onto its default stand, I discovered that the top two screws had been tapped. Now, I've always been into tech, and as a kid I used to disassemble and reassemble VCRs just to see how they worked. I've also built multiple PCs over my life, and I understand the importance of not over tightening. Yet somehow these top screws have still tapped. They'll be there forever, it seems. At the back, you get a bit of a hub. You sacrifice a single USB port on your PC or Mac and are then given a few extra ports on the back of the monitor. The most annoying thing for me was that the monitor does not have Thunderbolt connectivity. So you'll need to connect a DisplayPort or HDMI for your actual video input, along with a USB port to take advantage of the hub on the back of the monitor. So say goodbye to the single cable setup unless you're prepared to use an external dock. The audio jack in the hub performed really poorly. I was very excited to see it included, thinking I could use it to cover both my PS5 and my productivity setups. But the output quality was really subpar and I wasn't prepared to make that sacrifice. Definitely a disappointment. If you are getting this monitor for gaming specifically, it comes with a whole host of features for gamers. I'm not going to cover any of these in detail because I didn't fully utilize them, but just know that they are there if you are serious about gaming. Okay, so you've heard me rant on for so long. What would I recommend you go with instead of the ASUS PG32UQ? From my research, the LG 27GP950 is a much better bet. It has that 4K 27-inch sweet spot of crispness that makes it great for use as a productivity monitor as well. If you're into photography or videography, I'd strongly recommend you not get a gaming monitor because you're not going to get that certified color accuracy and panel uniformity. For this purpose, I'd recommend the BenQ PD2725U, which I love by the way, and will be reviewing soon on this channel. If all you need is a productivity monitor and you dabble in a little bit of gaming and a little bit of photography, then I'd recommend going down one of the line of options from Dell or LG. Dell has recently released the U2723QE, which looks to be absolutely fantastic for this purpose. Otherwise, anything from the trusted ultrafine range of LG would work well too. That wraps up this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'd love to chat with you in the comments down below, so please do leave one. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button down below and consider subscribing to my channel to see more from me in the future. And hit that notification bell if you'd like to get notified when I post a new video. That's all for today. I'll see you in the next one.